before you take another mother supplement, I need you to do this first. Hi there, my name is Lesline and I am your favorite nurse yogi. If this is your first time clicking on my pretty face, thank you. Make sure you subscribe because I'm pretty sure it's your first time seeing this face and you're like, who's this girl? Why she got all this energy? Even though this is when I tell y'all, I've recorded this video more times than I'd like to admit. But we are here, and we're going to get into, before you take supplements, watch this, and we're going to get into your blood work. When is the last time you had blood work done? And you're like, girl, who are you to ask me that? I am a registered nurse with 12 years of healthcare experience. I'm also a certified yoga instructor with 5 years of teaching experience. I blend my clinical scientific knowledge with my woo-woo, aka my yoga certification training. Blend those worlds together to provide you information. Make sure you watch the first video though, where we talk about what is creatine. It's a very trendy, popular supplement at this time. We talk about what that is. And so I also that was like, okay, it has to be a part 2 because before you take another, the way I'm so this is my soapbox, my vitamin box. I'm so passionate about this because vitamins are now causing more harm than good because people are they're taking them without getting their blood work done. So before you take another supplement, and I'm looking away like this because I have a script, I want you to pause. Because guessing is not the same as taking care of your health. Guessing is not the same as taking care of your health. A lot of us have been taught to approach wellness like this. You feel off, you go online, you hear about a vitamin, and you start taking it. Like, that's how it goes. You're like, I feel a little bit off. I'm going to go online. You see, you just scroll. Algorithm does algorithm things, and you're like, yeah, I am feeling tired. Yeah, I am having a little bit of anxiety. Let me take this. No. So there's no data behind that. There's no clarity. It's just hope. So as a nurse, this is where I slow things down because you can't correct what you have not identified. Let's run that back. You cannot correct what you have not identified. And you're like, how do I identify me feeling tired? Blood work. Okay? Blood work gives you actual insight into your body. It can show you the following things: vitamin deficiencies, hormonal patterns, markers of inflammation, and your metabolic function. So when you skip that step, when you just say, oh, I am feeling tired, let me get this B12 or whatever, right? I'm just throwing out a popular vitamin. You are skipping the most important thing, your blood work. Like, what is your B12 level? Like, if I asked you that, what is your B12 level? What is your hemoglobin, your hemoglobin A1C? Those are two different things. What's your hematocrit? What's your sodium, your potassium level? Like, do you know? And that's something like we need to know that for ourselves, right? So when you skip that step and you go straight to supplements, you're not supporting your body at all. You're just guessing. You're just guessing for the sake of guessing. And that constant guessing can keep your nervous system in a quiet state of stress. And that quiet state of stress will build up, and turn into a chronic health condition. So it can feel like, I'm doing everything, but something still feels off. If you have that concern, and I want you, this is the yogi in me, what is doing everything? Like, journal that. You're saying that you're doing everything. What is doing everything? Like, are you doing everything for the sake of being busy, or are you truly spread thin? Because what I mean by that is this: if you are a parent, listen clearly. If you so happen to have a partner in your house, you need to have a conversation and be like, hey, I need you to do blah, blah, blah in the house. Like, I can't do everything. I've said that to my husband. I said, I am only one person. I cannot do everything, right? Just a little sidebar conversation. My husband does more things in the house than he does more of the things in the house than I do. He does, right? He is just better at it. And then I'm more so, I'm not getting into that. But what I'm getting at though, typically a lot of my clients, they are people that they do everything, right? But most of the everything they're doing is because they like to be in control of everything and they are afraid of delegating. You got to delegate to protect your health. You have to delegate to protect your health, especially if you are a mother. You are so vital. You are the nucleus of your family. What that means is this, though. Being the nucleus of your family means that you need your rest, because the nucleus of your family means you got to be thinking about what's next. You got to be ready to be carry the emotions of everybody in your house. That is taxing. Okay. So with that, we went on a segue or whatever. But if you're feeling like you're doing everything, figure it out. I say that with love, but let's just move on. But what if it's not that you need to do more, right? What if you need to do what's accurate? And the only way to know what is accurate for you is getting your blood work done, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the physical right now. Because more supplements does not equate to better health. Understanding your body does. So this is actually why I created my 12-week health program, because we don't start with a list of supplements. The vitamin and supplement guide, I do give you one, but that's not until week 9. And you heard me clearly, my program is 12 whole weeks. So it's at the last quarter of the program, okay? So what I offer in my 12-week health program is understanding your labs. So ideally, you have done your labs, within the past 3 to 6 months, ideally 3 months. You've done your labs and now you're like, your doctor is like, you need to diet, you need to exercise. And you're like, girl, I don't even know where to start when it comes to that. But my, another one, like my HDL, that's your your cholesterol. Like my total cholesterol is like 300, 400, or my HDL is super high, or my LDL, now I'm getting granular, but maybe you have high cholesterol. Let me say it like that. Maybe your hemoglobin 1C is elevated and your doctor's like, just do diet and exercise. Personal story for me, my hemoglobin A1C was elevated. This is a couple years ago now, because my mom is a type 2 diabetic. So it's now just genetically a part of my makeup, right? To be more predisposed to being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So it was like in the 6s. Ideally, you want your hemoglobin A1C to be less than 5%. The lower that percent is, the better. Your hemoglobin A1C is an indicator of, do you have type 2 diabetes? Are you at risk for, pre-diabetes? So the nurse practitioner calls me to review my labs. Y'all know how those calls go, right? And that's probably why you might be avoiding getting your blood work done. And she's like, okay, your hemoglobin A1C is like 6.5 or something, right? And she's like, just make sure you diet and exercise, and we'll take your blood work again in 3 months, because this is one of those labs that you can only get it done every 3 months, because that's when it turns over, if you will. It changes. Either way, if you don't take care for your body, or you do. So I was like, okay, I know what to do, right? But then I hung up, and because I provide health content online, I was like, damn, if she told this to somebody else, they probably would not take it as serious. And so I was like, I need to, that's part of why I created my program, because in my program, we go through mindset, we go through, meal prep and all of that, to vitamins and supplements that I take. So we also then, look at what your body actually needs. And then, if necessary, we choose support with intention. So I don't want you taking things just to feel like you're doing something, just to feel like you can, okay, I checked the box. I want you to understand why you're taking it. And so that's why I had that video below about what is creatine. Because if you're just taking it because an influencer online who don't even have one piece of health, if an influencer online is telling you take this because it worked for me, that's cool. It did work for them. And hopefully they're not lying, but please make sure, again, you get your blood work done. So that's why, and also, okay, you have to understand why you're taking it, and you deserve clarity in your health, not confusion. You don't need to guess your way into wellness. You should not. You cannot. That's not true wellness. True wellness, like outside of healthcare, is listening to your body, right? And we talk about that in the previous video. I give you some journal prompts, if you will, of what does your body really need? You know what your body needs. We all have intuition. We all do. It's just some of us don't listen. You know what you need. So if you're ready for that kind of approach, I highly encourage you to join my 12-week health program, which will be linked down below. And we have, before I go into that, I might forget to explain the tiers, but get your blood work done at least once a year, okay? Once a year. And ideally, you won't have to get it done again until the following year. But like I said, if your provider calls you after you do that blood work and you're just like, oh gosh, and they're like, hey, your cholesterol's high. Hey, you're at risk for prediabetes. If they just say that, I want you to ask them this. What do you mean I'm pre-diabetic? Like, what lab said that? And if they're like, oh, your hemoglobin A1, because doctors be busy. I get it. So they probably are like, oh, they don't care about knowing the exact numbers. No, you need to know the exact numbers, because then they'll be, okay, your hemoglobin A1C is 8%. That's high. Because remember, like I said, ideally you want that hemoglobin A1C like less than 5%. The lower the percent, the better when it comes to hemoglobin A1C. So then, and typically this will be in your portal or whatever. I want you to print that out or keep it somewhere and write that down, right? Okay, hemoglobin A1C is 7%. And then when you join my healthcare program, we're going to make a SMART goal about how you're going to go from 7% to 5% in the next 3 months. So you see, that's how my healthcare program works. Like we're going to be like, okay, this is where you're at. We have this awareness, because you need awareness in order to move forward. You can't, and y'all, can you relate to this? You're like, I ain't gonna look at my bank account. I ain't gonna look at it because I know I overdraft. And then you get this shame, right? And I don't want you to have any shame when it comes to your health, because I know with the financial part, I'd be guilty of that too, y'all. But I don't want to look. I don't want you to be that way. We have to have some kind of awareness when it comes to our health in order to move forward. The same with finances. You have to be aware of where you are financially. So then I'm going to talk about health because that's where I live. When you are aware of what your numbers are, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed, Lesline. Like, my hemoglobin A1C is 8%. Like, I can't believe I've gotten here. I don't know how. That's typically the next thing you say. I don't know how I got here. And that's not like, I see you, sis, I got you. But it's because you haven't practiced mindfulness, right? And in my program as well, we practice mindfulness. I teach you what is mindfulness and how is that related to your health, because so many times we just allow life to happen to us instead of taking life by the cojones or whatever, just taking life and being like, no, I got this. You are more in control of your life than you think. You got a lot going on and you don't have systems in place when it comes to your health. And that's what this whole 12-week health program is. It's systems. We go by a system-based approach. It's 3 phases, if you will. That's why it's 3 months. And so there are 3 options as well when it comes to pricing. The first option is do it yourself. It's the $297 approach, where you click the link below and you say, that's where I'm at this time. That's what I can afford. You do the $297 and you immediately get access to me. And you'll see all the recorded videos, worksheets, workbooks, like multiple workbooks, multiple worksheets, all in that program. That's the $297 approach. The second option is the one that I highly encourage people to do. That's the cohort option. That is where you get access to me. We get on calls once a month. So it's 3 calls, one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end. You bring your questions, tribulations, whatever. And then you also get community. 4 other women will be with you. And you'll also get access to an online platform, if you will. It is not Facebook, because I don't like that, in my opinion, because then I get distracted. I see somebody from high school and then I'm like, why did I come on this? Like, I was supposed to come on this to answer, to get my accountability for my wellness. this is a separate platform that I have for you. And you can ask whatever questions in between those calls when it comes to the health program. Okay. Then the third option is if you're like, girl, I just need you. I need one-on-one support. That's the $5,000 investment where you get all the access to me. We meet every week virtually. So we get on call virtually and I ask you, okay, where you're at. And in the, we build. So in the beginning, I tell you how you truly can like get the full value out of this program. So you truly can, for example, with the hemoglobin A1C, go from 7% to less than 5. I can't guarantee, let me say that clearly, I cannot guarantee that your hemoglobin A1C will drop over the 3 months, but I can give you the tools that you need to live a healthier life. All right. So that is it when it comes to your blood work. So we covered everything from getting your blood work done at least once a year. That's like the normal. Once a year is all you need. You don't need to do more unless your doctor says otherwise. I'm also going to say this in the video. This is not medical advice. This is just education. Please consult your healthcare provider before doing anything a girl that you don't even know says online. Okay? So we talked about get your blood work done yearly. We talked about some common, let me just add this. So the common blood work that you'll get done is your complete blood count. That encompasses of your white blood cells, your red blood cells. So white blood cells would tell you if they're really high, you have an infection. Your red blood cells typically, your hemoglobin and your hematocrit, those are going to tell you if you're bleeding. So if your hemoglobin and hematocrit are low, so if your hemoglobin's less than 7, you probably have some kind of bleeding internally. You do have bleeding internally going on. Then we have your basic metabolic panel, also known as your comprehensive metabolic panel. Remember I said earlier, your blood work tells you about your metabolic health. Within your basic metabolic panel, also known as your B like boy, M like Mary, P, this encompasses of electrolytes, sodium, potassium, chloride, anion gap. Also has your BUN and creatinine. In the previous video, please make sure you watch that. We discuss about BUN and creatinine, but just really quickly, your BUN and creatinine tell you how well your kidneys are performing. Kidney health is very important because if your kidneys are not doing well, and the quickest way, like you don't even have to get blood work done for this, and not me saying you don't gotta get blood work done, but you do, next time you go to the bathroom to pee, look at your urine. How does your urine look? Ideally, you want to see a little bit of yellow and you want to be able to see through your urine. So you want to be able to see the bottom of that toilet bowl, if you will. If your urine is dark amber, you can barely see it, it smells sweet, that is concerning. That means that you have some ketones going on in the gonads in that potty, and you might be in a diabetic coma, if you will. And if you're like, oh, like I only pee once a day, that is concerning. That means your kidneys are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so your BUN and your creatinine would be elevated. Okay. And so what your provider would encourage you to do, they would give you your care plan, because that is a whole nother thing. But you see why it's important, because if your kidneys are not properly excreting, metabolizing the waste, then you're at risk for buildup of waste in your body. Okay, so that's why I'm so concerned when people are like, I'm gonna take these supplements, right? So you're taking these supplements, right? Not looking at your urine, right? You're just taking. And then next thing you know, you're in overload of the supplement, maybe getting heart palpitations, maybe you can't take a shit. These are all indicators of like, okay, what have I been doing recently what have I been doing the past 3 months that I wasn't doing before, right? So that closes the video because it's almost 20 minutes, and this is take 5 million. It feels, y'all, and your girl is hungry. I need to take care of my body. But I hope this helped. I hope this was informative. And yeah, That's it. That's all. Make sure you like this video. We are going to draw this out to 20 minutes because the 100 days of YouTube, I have to do at least 20 to 30-minute videos because it compounds. It compounds. And before the year is over, your girl is going to be monetized. I already hit, now I'm getting into the content creator. Sorry, but I can't help it. I'm going, I already hit my 1,000 by day 30 of YouTube. It wasn't 0 to 1,000. I will say that. I was already at 900 and change. So I went up to 1,000 easily. And now we're at day 53. I am working on monetization. So that's where we're at. So send vibes, but we're at 20 minutes and 7 seconds. I'm going to go. Have a good weekend, week, year. Love you. Mean it. Bye. Thanks.